Welcome back to my master plan series. We are continuing with item 3 on our list here of in-ground irrigation. So this is a massive project where I'm installing in-ground irrigation on my 30,000 square feet of turf grass, and it's spanning many episodes here. In this episode, we're going to cover installing that water timer or your irrigation system controller, and wiring that up, and looking at our components to prep for trenching and getting our distribution line and sprinkler heads in the ground. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this thing, subscribe and you'll get all the future updates to make sure that you learn and you can follow along with the entire project and how we get irrigation on my lawn. All right, I got some wire, control wire for my sprinkler valves. Now, this is 4 conductor wire. Basically, you need, the number of conductors you need is your number of valves plus 1. So you need a positive for each valve, and then a common negative can be shared between all valves. So in this case, I have 3 control valves here, and I'm gonna have 3 control valves up in the higher section. So I need 4 conductor wire, which is what I've got here. So I'm gonna leave this coil outside, and I need to feed in 2 sets into the house to go to my controller. I know I can mount the controller outside, but I'd just rather have it inside. In the basement where my shutoff and that is for the water. So I'm gonna see if the penetration I have in the wall is big enough to feed this in with the water supply wire, and instead of putting another hole in the house. So we'll see how it goes. So that is a hard no on this fitting, and I got to get 2 of these fitting alongside my water supply. So it looks like I'm gonna have to put another penetration. I think I'm gonna go on this side, height it a little bit more. Not a huge deal. This is low voltage wiring, so it doesn't need to be in conduit or anything. Basically, there's the building code around this is, never mind, I don't want to talk about building codes. This is low voltage wiring, similar to your phone line coming in. So if you look at the penetration coming for your phone line, basically or your internet cable, whatever, cable television, they just drill a hole, just like we did with our water supply, shove your wire through and caulk it on either side. So that's what we're gonna do here. All right, so before I pull my wires in or drill a hole for my wires to come through, I've got my Orbit Beehive controller, and I want to get that placed so I know where the wires have to go to. So I already have an outlet here that I'm going to tap into. I'd like to put it on a wall with some wood because that's a lot easier to mount it here. But at the same time, I don't want this plug dangled across somewhere. So I think I'm gonna have to put it on this concrete wall. So I'm just gonna put in one of these concrete screws right here by the outlet. And I'm able to plug it in easily there. And anyway, so that's where I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put this in. That way, I think I can route the low voltage control wires right up here, drop it down. Of course, the only port there is on the bottom, so I'll have to come up and down. But anyway, I think that'll work, so I'm gonna get this in. Again, I'm sure Bob Vila would say you need a hammer drill for this, but I found if you know these concrete bits come with this kit, or they're usually right next to them in the store. You just put it in a normal drill. They seem to work okay. Not great, but you can get it done. All right, that was relatively painless. Got her mounted. I'm gonna unplug it for now, but we got to get behind this panel here. And these are where we actually put the control wires here. So you can see there's a panel here with the common and 1 through 6. So now I've got a good idea. There's a hole in the bottom here. I feed up my wires. I don't really love this, so I just use the center hole on the back. And with the cover open, there's so much weight it wants to tip. Oh well, not the end of the world. So I think I'm still gonna run my wires up just on the side of where the supply goes out through the wall there. Yeah, so I'll have to get a long drill bit for that, put the wires through, connect them up, and we keep making progress. I know a lot of these projects, even for myself, seem overwhelming at the start, but you just have to keep biting off little chunks of it. Doesn't, a lot of these things are can be done in parallel path. There's not, but I just try to think of, okay, what's the next task I need to do to allow me to progress, and just knock those off, bite them out. Before you know it, we've got our water supply in, we've got our valve manifold out there, we're ready to start trenching. But before we start trenching, we can get this control box knocked out with our wires up there. Obviously our wires are going to have to go in the trench, so we need to get those connected, ready to lay in the trench with the remote valve station. So we're getting it done, bite by bite. All right, I punched a hole in the wall. Got my first wire moved through, so I'm just going to route it over here to our box and see how that goes. All right, that was pretty painless. I like the routing. I've got enough length in here, so I have to go outside, cut this off by the valves, make sure I have enough length there, then I can feed my second one in. Anyway, making progress. All right, I'm back outside here. Got my wire coming through. So I'm just gonna mock this up by my valves. Make sure I've got enough length here. Take my side cutters and nip it off. Now I've got the remaining bundle here, and I'm going to feed this back through to the basement, and then this one will go in the trench to my remote valve station on the high part of the lawn. You can see I just put a penetration. Whoa! You can see I just put a penetration here right next to my pipe here. And we'll try to sneak this one in there. Hopefully that's big enough. It's going to be a two-hander. I thought I picked a drill bit. That was big enough, but it's not. I'm going to have to pull this sucker out, make the hole a little bit bigger, then I guess I can put them through together now that I know it's long enough, but Bob Vila wouldn't be proud. A lot of iterations here, running back and forth between outside and inside, but we'll get her done. Okay, try again. All right, success. Sweet, sweet success.
All right, let's get these wires pulled in.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, I'm just stripping back the outer insulation here so I can fit it into the controller. You can see what we've got inside here is the individual conductors. As I said, this is a 4-conductor set of wires, so we've got a red, white, green, and blue, so you can select a common, which basically turns into the negative for your set, and then the other 3 will be the individual valves. So when we go to the valves, we'll connect one of their 2 wires all to a common, which will be ground, and then the other 3 basically can be a power, which actually activate the individual valves. Before we stuff them in the box here, we'll just strip the insulator off each one of these. All right, now we can see the working end of the panel here. We'll just feed our control wires up there. And so you can see we've got 2 sets of 4-conductor control wires. One will be going to valve bank 1. The other will be going to valve bank 2, both of which have 3 valves for a total of 6 zones. And so we'll pick out a common here between the 2, which maybe I'll say is white. And so we'll hook up one of the whites to this common, another white to this common. Then we'll go maybe red, green, blue from each set to zone 1 through 3 here, 6. So we've got our 6 zones, and we'll name our valves here. Valve bank 1 will be 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6, and bada bing, bada boom. We'll hook these up. Our controller here came with this cool little screwdriver here for these tiny little screws on this bank here. So we said red, green, blue. We got to make sure we've got, yeah, there we go. All right, we'll repeat. So you can see we've got red, green, blue hooked up to 1, 2, 3, and we'll do red, green, blue for our second set of wires here on 4, 5, 6. I do not recommend using this screwdriver they give you. It is not strong enough to even loosen the screws in their factory condition. So they're tightened by the factory. This thing couldn't even loosen them up. So I've got one of my own here. This thing should do a better job. Much better. So I'm taking all these out. I'm going to trim these conductors down a bit, just so I don't have so much exposed. All right, that's all there is to it in here. Well, as what happens with some projects when you're doing it the first time, I've changed my mind. So you can see here I got a new box of sprinkler heads. I took the other ones back and I got these Rainbird 5000. So what I found, these are more of a professional grade or commercial grade sprinkler head. And on Amazon, there is a wholesaler on there who's selling these 20 packs for less per head than I paid for those kind of consumer grade heads at the local big box store. So I took those back, went with these, and and obviously these are a better head. They've got a 3/4 inch port here instead of a 1/2 inch. They're able to shoot further, but I'm still going to keep my same layout for the other one. So that wasn't the big advantage for me. But it's kind of nice. It comes with this tool. I had bought one at the big box store. I just took it back, and this came with it. I mean, it's not a big deal. I think it was $4 or something. But the real cool thing with these Rainbird 5000s is they came with a full set of nozzles for each one of these heads. So this nozzle was interchangeable on those consumer grade heads that I had, but they didn't come with them. I'm sure they're not much. I could have bought them, but I figured, what the heck? This comes with all the nozzles with that tool, and it's less per head than the other ones. Makes sense to get these. Um, the really cool thing, the reason I decided I need these nozzles, basically these provide, they've got low angle options, which maybe I'll need, we'll see. But the big deal here is they've got different flow rates. So from 1.5 gallons per minute all the way up to 8 gallons per minute for these different nozzles. So the way I have my layout there, the reason I think this is important is if I'm having a head do a full 360 degree, I want that head to put more water out than if I'm just doing a 45-degree arc, which I need on some of my nozzles. So, that's basically a fourth of a full revolution. So I want to cut that water flow down by a fourth. And you do that with these nozzles. So that way I'll balance out the water that's being put down. Also got a spool of 1 inch, 100 psi utility pipe, they call this, I guess. But it's a flexible pipe, irrigation pipe is what they called it at my big box store. I got a 300-foot coil here, and just like everything right now, for some reason they were completely out. This was the last one of that, so I'm definitely going to need more than 300 feet. We'll see how that goes in the next few days. We'll get that going. But I want to keep you guys involved in every step here of the way as I go through this. It is kind of a big undertaking, but we're just chipping away one by one here. All right, it's a rainy day, so I thought I'd take advantage. Went to the store, got my swing pipe. So this will go from the main 1-inch tubing here to the actual sprinkler head. It's a little more flexible, and this is 1/2 inch. And then I got a bunch of these swing pipe fittings. So this 3/4 inch will actually go into the bottom of the sprinkler head, and then this blue swing pipe tubing will go into there. I went with this, what is this, Orbit brand Blue Lock. I've heard a lot of people use these and like them. Basically, it's a push type connection. And then even these bigger ones, tees and stuff, I got an assortment for the black pipe or whatever there. It just pushes in there and locks itself in place. So that should go pretty quick. Finally got myself one of these cool ratcheting cutters. I don't know what took me so long to get one of these. They're not that expensive. But anyway, I don't have every fit in. I bought the store out of basically everything they had in little boxes on the shelf. I think I got the majority of everything, just a few little things I'll need to get yet. The other thing I had to do, so I actually redid my layout and painted sprinkler head locations on the ground. They're pink now. I'll spare you the details of that. But because I was going with the Rainbird 5000 here, the lowest radius is 30. All right, so long story short here, I've got enough fittings and everything to start going. That's the end of this episode. We got our water supply attached, checked out, leak tested. We've got our first manifold with control valves checked out, wired up. So we're ready to start putting this stuff in the ground. The next episode, we'll get to trenching and hopefully get 1 or 2, maybe 3 zones done, and start watering. All right, thanks for watching. Adios.